Our vision is to democratize high performance, right? Take the knowledge and the access and the best products in the world and give them to a consumer in a meaningful way. If you don't know why you take it, you shouldn't be taking it. If you can't tell me in 5 words why you take any product, don't take it. The consumer doesn't need it simple. They just need to have people tell them what it is in a thoughtful way, right?
Jeff, welcome to the Jedburgh podcast.
Heck yeah, thanks for having me, Fran.
I've been waiting all weekend for this. I've been waiting since April.
April. We're going to have a lot of hype for this. I'm going to have to work up to it.
It's very momentous.
It's a momentous occasion.
Awesome to see you here at CrossFit Games 2023. We met a couple of months ago in April, right before you got there, Jesse. Jeff and I met at Sandlot Jack's and started talking about all the things he's been doing, not only in the NFL, but then also since he transitioned out into starting Momentous, working with the Army on a number of different performance-enhancing nutritional products. And we said, well, next time we meet, we have to do something. And then it just so happened that our mutual friend, Allison Brager, who we know well, said, hey, you got to talk to Jeff Byers.
Yes.
Yeah, I do have to talk to Jeff Byers, and she connected us.
Funny story about that. I tend to be like pretty suspicious when it comes to supplement companies. Talked to so many that were like, they're like, oh yeah, all natural ingredients, and they've got sucralose in it. And so I was reading your labels very carefully. And I don't know that much about sleep supplements, but I do know Major Allison Brager. And so I sent her a screenshot of your label and was like, hey, what do you think of this one? And she was like, I'm on the advisory board. I helped create it. I was like, okay, all right, so I can trust these guys. Great.
Yeah, that was an easy layup for us, that one was. I wish it was always that easy.
But yeah, immediate trust. Like,
thank you.
And then also seeing you work with Andrew Huberman.
Yep.
Yeah, I learned a lot from listening to him. Yeah. So that's really great to hear.
Yeah, Dr. Huberman's been a big part of the business really over the past year and a half or so as we think about how do we bring products right to the forefront and how do we wrap around education, et cetera. Yeah. Anyways, we can get into the story, but Dr. Huberman has done such a good job of bringing knowledge and education to the consumer. Yeah. And really, we're passionate about democratizing high performance. How do we take what Andrew's doing, right, and bring products to bear and actionable items and actual provide solutions to consumers and make sure we're trusted and doing it the right way. And so Andrew's been really involved in our business when we think about product development and why we have what we have in our portfolio. We don't need a portfolio of 200 products. We need a very curated approach to our portfolio of let's think about what products we have and let's guide consumers into the right products.
Yeah, I love not having 50 different supplements in my daily vitamin regime.
There's a lot out there.
Yeah.
We'll talk for a second about the vision behind the company. Yeah. We'll backtrack into your previous career, but we'll start here because we're at CrossFit Games 2023. Momentous is everywhere across the whole venue. So talk about the vision behind the company and what the goal is.
Yeah, we really started the business about 5 years ago. My co-founder and I, Erica Good, we spun the business underlying entity out of a biotech company. We're both really early members of that biotech. But we had this really incredible product that was doing something that had never been done before. And early on, we started getting traction from the U.S. government. And we won a large government innovation contract around this product now. But anyways, we had this biotech and it just didn't fit. Like we were working on pharmaceutical products and we had this high performance sports nutrition-ish product in there. And we took that and we said, let's create a company around it. Let's create the next generation high performance company. With not really knowing what that was going to become. But our first customers were Super Bowl champions, Tour de France winners, marathon world record holders with this product. The product's called PR Lotion, and PR Lotion is really niche-y and really great. Yeah, it's right here.
There we are.
Yeah, this is PR Lotion, and this was the product that kind of thrust us at the forefront of high performance. We actually had 2 published clinical papers come out this year on this product. And what it does, it helps regulate acidity in the muscle. And so it gives your body more sodium bicarbonate. Bicarb regulates acidity. When we work really, really hard or really, really long, our muscles get really acidic. And that acidity is called, our lactic threshold,
We just finished an hour conversation with Chris Hinshaw.
So you know all about
perfect timing.
right? And so one of our body naturally uses bicarbonate. Really hard to take orally because sodium bicarbonate is a buffer. Your stomach is acidic. When you mix a buffer with acid, think of volcano in elementary school. Your stomach explodes. You do what I call the double dragon, right? Can go out both ends very fast.
I've never heard that term, but I'm about to start using it. I'm taking it from you.
It is. You have. You're welcome. And so this one really thrust us, and it was super early, and it's part of how we got to know Alison Brager, right? Is through this innovation. And it was early on. We had a lot of people to take chances, but it was at the tip of the pointy spear in terms of what we were doing. And that thrust us into some really unique circles on who we were working with and why we were working with them. But we'll get into it. My past career as an NFL athlete, what I saw there was you had great practitioners. So you had the best dietitians in the world, the best strength staff, the best trainers. And then you had access to the experts like Dr. Huberman or an Alison Brager. And then you had the best products in the world. And you had all that kind of combined to do what's best for me. What was best for Jeff at that time to achieve my goals. When I retired, it was like this black hole of chaos. Like, what supplements do I take? I'm scared shitless of my brain health, right? I hit my head for a living. What do I do? Where do I find it, right? And then it's like, well, who makes really good products? There's just like so much bro science, or it's almost pharmaceutical out there. And it's like the quality of products, right, that are important for me. I was just confused, and I'm very well educated, and this was my passion when I was playing. And then how do you combine that with like, what's cutting edge? What are the experts saying and why? And that was really how we've kind of really positioned the company, and our vision is to democratize high performance, right? Take the knowledge and the access and the best products in the world and give them to a consumer in a meaningful way, right? Give them what they need when they need it and help tell them why. And that was really this vision for Momentous. But we bought the underlying entity that my co-founder and I, we acquired the Momentous brand 2 years ago, right? And they had a couple of sports nutrition products, and our vision was to blow it up and make the next great brand. We brought on Huberman and Kelly Starrett and a bunch of these really incredible thought leaders to say, let's design a very good, very clean product portfolio. So we certify all of our products by either Informed Sport or NSF or both. We sell into nearly 200 pro and college sports teams. And then we've won 10 innovation contracts with the Department of Defense around clinical research and product iteration, all around, what I'll say broadly is combat readiness and combat performance, right? How do we keep the men and women that serve this country at play and ready faster? And this is a new area for a lot of that. Like, the U.S. military hasn't taken a big approach on nutrition or supplementation. In the past couple of years, they've really locked that space in. So that's a little bit about Momentous. Really excited about the CrossFit partnership. As you guys had Don Fall on, but like Don and what Don believes CrossFit, where he's taking CrossFit is very similar to where I want to take Momentous. How do we educate and inspire and equip humans to be better humans? Right? It's right in its broadest form. That's CrossFit in my mission. Right? And CrossFit has such a dedicated, loyal consumer, but still, we're in this category that's really messy and confusing. Like you said, like, I don't trust very many, or I don't know what to trust or who to trust. And what we hope to become is the anti-supplement company. We want to break through the BS. We want to start with science, talk with science, have the experts curate, right? I don't believe experts live in my company. I believe we have really smart people. Experts live at pro and college sports teams. They're the practitioners. They're the best people in the world. They live at universities doing clinical research, Dr. Huberman, right, Stacy Sims, Andy Galpin, and then they're in the DoD, Alison Brager, right, and other places in the soft community where they're really pushing the limits when we think about health performance optimization. They don't live inside companies like mine. And so our approach to product creation is bring these people in, let's leverage them. Let's put them at a round table, think about what we're going to put in our products, more importantly, what aren't we going to put in our products, and then what products should we have, right? And then where do we need to do clinical research versus not? And so that's really been our approach. We try to be very different in this space and have a long way to come from an education perspective too, but CrossFit's a big part of that. It's a huge platform for us to educate really smart consumers, and what I think is the most important is really curious consumers, right? Because you can talk from a soapbox a lot, but if people aren't curious, it doesn't matter.
you do CrossFit for 2 or 3 months, you might not see the numbers change on the scale, you might not feel like, but if you can show people with data, like you're actually improving, you just hit a PR, you're getting better.
Gym owners were able to just basically click a button and get all the resources and tools that we were using for our gyms at a fraction of what it would cost them.
Like if gyms provide a better product on the floor by having better coaches, their business is going to be healthier. They're going to have better retention and have all those other features. And coaching is a skill that needs to be developed. We are, I would argue, the most product-focused company in our space. And the way we create value is by building better, we build products. In 2012, we told gyms to put TVs on their walls, and we got laughed at an event. And go in any CrossFit gym in the world now, and you're probably going to see a TV on the wall. But we're just constantly pushing the envelope with innovation.
How do you keep it simple though? Both you and Jessie talked about the complexity of the space. I mean, you can walk around the venue here and see so many different brands and companies who all have their own take. But how do you create a company in this space that keeps it simple for the consumer to understand what they need and actually go out and get it on a consistent basis?
I think simple might be the wrong word actually. Like these consumers are smart, right? They don't want simple. They want to know why, right? And kind of the first thing is like, if you don't know why you take it, you shouldn't be taking it. If you can't tell me in 5 words why you take any product, don't take it. It's wrong, right? And so I don't think it's simple. I think it's all about education and getting people in the right products for them. Like for example, my number one thing in my life is cognitive longevity. I am scared that I hit my head for way too long and that I'm going to have more neurological issues later on. So I start everything that I do with, is this good for my brain? Is this good for my long-term brain health? That's the number one thing I do, right? Everything else is secondary, tertiary, etc., down the list. But brain health, cognitive function, number one. And if
omega-3?
What? Omega-3, creatine, turmeric, vitamin D. Right? Hard stop. And there's 1,300 published clinical trials, 1,300 plus published clinical trials on creatine and TBI.
Really?
Yep.
I did not know about that.
5 grams a day of creatine, right? Everybody thinks of creatine, right? I played pro football, played college football. Creatine was muscle building.
Right.
Never thought of it as, right? It has neuroprotective, right? It has neural longevity, and it also has return to play, return to duty capabilities as well, post-concussive event. It's very well researched and very well studied, but very misunderstood by this consumer. The consumer doesn't need it simple. They just need to have people tell them what it is in a thoughtful way, right? Huberman isn't a top 5 podcast in the world because he makes things simple. It's because he explains things eloquently and why people can care about them, right?
Yeah.
And makes it easy for people to understand. There's nothing simple about our human bodies. And so I think, sorry, on a tangent, I think it's speaking to the consumer like they're educated and curious and telling it in a way that relates back to them and their why, right? Yeah. Because honestly, probably every one of us have had family connections or something related to traumatic brain injury or Alzheimer's, dementia, neurodegenerative diseases. Creatine has incredible data behind it, right? Like you can talk to Alison Brager about it, right? And it's a do no harm type of thing. Like we know what creatine is. It's a major energy source for the brain and the muscles. Like there's no long-term benefits of there's no long-term negative benefits of creatine, right? And it's one of those things like when you talk to the top leaders in the space, every consumer should be taking creatine and high doses of omegas. Every human being, they believe that, right? And those things are not sexy. They're not highly differentiated, right? But consumers, right, are getting into proprietary formulas, right? And, stimulant-based things, which are great. And, we have some of that, but it's not, go back to the basics, right? And clearly explain the hierarchy of need and the impact that it's going to have on people. So tangent, sorry.
So how much creatine should you be taking a day?
Yeah, so basically
brain?
We're saying like for long-term cognitive health, it's about 5 milligrams, right? It's 1 scoop, or 5 grams, sorry, not 5 milligrams. It's 1 scoop,
Gotcha.
Right? Creatine's up there. I will say this, and creatine monohydrate is creatine monohydrate. There's not that much of a difference between creatine monohydrates across brands. Realistically, almost no, right? Is it certified? Is it, right? What is actually in it has been cross-contaminated. Those are important things, but creatine monohydrate is basic, and it costs nothing, right? 90-day serving, I think we charge $36-something for a 90-day serving, right? Like 30-some cents a day on full price. Like, that's nothing, right? Like, realistic, like we all buy bottles of water that are more expensive than that every single day.
They're $5 over
there. Yeah, $5 at CrossFit.
Doesn't creatine cause you to hold a little more water weight?
It can, correct, but the 5 gram dose a day is enough. So really, when you think about creatine and the water retention aspect of it, is all about this loading phase. And so you as athlete might remember taking creatine for bulk, right, to gain lean muscle mass. Yeah. And you do these big loading phases where you can take 30, 40 grams a day, and that super saturates and loads your body and loads your muscles, and then your muscles start pulling in weight. 5 grams a day doesn't have massive water retention challenge.
Gotcha.
Right?
Now, if you're doing it for strength gain, aren't you supposed to take it specifically like right before and right after the strength workout?
Yep, there's data to support that, but it is a big loading phase too, right? Like, you need to make sure your stores in your muscles are topped, right? And that's all about, right? That's creatine for muscle building. And we're talking about creatine for general health. Right. Which we have consumers that use it for both.
Can it multitask though?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay.
So, anyways.
Okay, so if I want it for brain health and to also work on my lean muscle mass, then should I time it to do it right before the workout?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then it will serve for both, theoretically.
Theoretically, yes.
Okay. Cool. So 5 grams a day isn't going to make me heavier for
correct
strength to weight ratio and all that. Okay, cool. Good to know. And omega-3s are the other big one for brain health.
Yeah, omega-3s, right? Our brain is made up of fat, essentially, and DHA and EPA are very, very important. And those are the two main power hitters in omega-3s. And they, right? And here's the thing: creatine monohydrate is creatine monohydrate. The difference of of omega-3s is very vast in the market. Like, from the brands you get in the big boxes to the uber premium. Like, it actually matters and it's impactful. And like, you can look at a omega-3 and you're like, oh, this has got a gram of fish oil in it, but it really only has 200 milligrams of EPA and DHA combined.
Right.
And then it just has 800 milligrams of fish oil, which is just fish oil. Right. Which is not omega-3, or it's not EPA or DHA. EPA or DHA. And those things are so important, right? And so for us, we have a 1.6 gram omega-3 dose. It's 800 milligrams of each. And really that dose is what's so critical when you think about cognitive performance. And when you look at what some soft units are using from the dietitian's perspective or professional teams for brain health, it's even higher than that.
Right.
They're taking more than that recommended dose. But for us, where's the fish caught? What type of fish in the food chain is really important, because fish can carry heavy metals, a lot of heavy metals.
Right.
We test all of ours for heavy metals, and a lot of brands don't. We use wild caught small fish, typically Alaskan pollock, which carry historically very, very low amounts of omega, very, very low amounts of heavy metals, which is really important when you think about. I don't want heavy metals. Nobody wants heavy metals.
Right.
But those are things that aren't talked about.
Okay. Yeah, one of the things that I thought was so interesting about fish oils is the ratios that you ideally want between omega-3 and omega-6s. Am I remembering correctly that people in America typically have like already a really high ratio of too many omega-6s to omega-3s?
We don't have any challenge eating omega-6s.
Right.
As like omega-3 is like, unless you're eating salmon 4 or 5 times a week in a big serving, you definitely aren't getting enough of your omega-3s, right? And like, I wish I ate salmon I don't wish.
Yeah, same.
And I don't have enough money to afford it either, right? Like, and so that's why omega-3s are such a critical supplementation, because it's really hard to get them in our general diets, and it's not practical.
Right.
Which, I mean, whole foods first, always. But in the diets we live in, like, we're on the road at the CrossFit Games. It's just not practical to always get what your body needs in today's world, but also in the right doses at the right times. And that's where dietary supplements can come in and be very effective. But you don't need everything. Like, you still need to eat really healthy. You still need to train hard, right? And then you need to find out what dietary supplements or what sports nutrition products are most important for you for your goals.
Right. So omega-3s can help with brain healing. And do they also prevent long-term Alzheimer's?
There's really interesting data around that, right? Right? For those of you who are listening, you can go on really, really deep rabbit holes on omega-3s and brain health, long-term brain health, and creatine and long-term brain health. Go to PubMed. Go to PubMed if you really want to go explore the dark depths of research.
Okay. But in any case, by getting 1 to 3 grams of omega-3s, I am improving my brain health.
Yeah, 1,000%. I mean, it's one of those things, like, we know omega-3s are really important for children, right? Like, really, really important for brain development. And I mean, we don't make a kid's omega-3, but there's great kids omega-3s out there. And omega-3, like, it is a critical building block in our brain, right? And it's really important. DHA, it's really important for us to understand these things and, like, not be afraid to think about and ask questions about why and when and, like, what's good versus what's bad. So
BCAAs.
Yeah.
I've heard that it's like a trend and we don't need BCAA supplements, but I assume that's just if you are eating optimally and getting them all from your diet.
Yeah, so BCAA is interesting. We have an EAA, which is an essential amino acid, which contain the 4 branch chains as well. And so it's a more holistic profile, which is found to be more important. So when you kind of think about, if you want, what's better than EAAs? Drinking a protein shake, having whey protein, right? But the really great thing about essential amino acids, as you think about it, is they're great for lean muscle mass and metabolic health, and they don't have the same caloric content that a whey protein would. Way easier to sip on throughout a day, much lighter, etc. But yes, the gold standard is whey protein. Like, after workout, you shouldn't be taking essential aminos. You should be taking a whole form of protein that has all of the essential aminos in it, like a whey protein or a well-balanced plant protein. That's really, really important. But it's when you don't. I mean, there's also some, like, Dr. Huberman talks about using aminos in a fasted state. Like, if you are a hardcore, they do break a fast, like, truly, but very, like, not, Huberman says, hey, he will take them on a fasted state, and they really don't break his fast, as a way to get some sort of protein or something in your body before you train, is how they can be used in that sense. Like, so really interesting use cases. Or if you're on a time restricted feeding schedule, right? You fast for 12 hours a day or something, and getting your protein content in is really hard. And so EAAs amount to a smaller amount of protein, right, when you take them, but you can sip them throughout the day. They're not as heavy, easier to up your protein content if you are time restricted. Or a really big thing for essential amino acids is those people who don't eat meat, right? Because plants don't have full amino acid profile.
Right.
And so, like, we go down, like, even when you look at a plant protein, if you just buy a single source plant protein, it doesn't have a complete amino acid profile. Right. Therefore, it's not a building block. Right, your body's not going to use that effectively to build muscles, and so all plant proteins really have to be a combo to get to be able to complete a complete amino acid profile to actually be the building blocks your body needs for muscle.
We should probably state, because I don't think we've said it yet, what do amino acids do in the body? They're building blocks.
Yeah, amino acids are building blocks, right? So all proteins are built up of amino acids. Peptides are built up of amino acids. So they are essentially like the breakdown of aminos. So like a breakdown of proteins. And so they build everything, all of, like, the major functions, etc. And so there's a lot of talk around peptides going on in the world, but peptides are just long strands of amino acids.
Right.
Whey protein is long strands of amino acids, right? Every protein has a little bit different strand. Like collagen is a strand. Collagen is a peptide, but it's a protein, and it's a certain strand of amino acids.
Cool.
So yeah, amino acids are building blocks of our tissues.
So when I eat a protein source, I'm eating long chains of amino
Very long
acids,
chains of
and then those chains of amino acids break down and repair all the muscles that I've broken down in a
You're hired.
workout.
Yeah, but you're exactly right. And so, I mean, that's when it's like after you work out, like timing of protein, we're getting smarter on that. It's more, timing of protein is not as critical as once thought. But really what we're finding out is it's much more about, are you intaking enough protein throughout the day? Are you meeting your protein intake? And that's honestly becoming more important. But like, so when you think about the gold standard in protein, it's really whey protein, right? And it's not casein, right? It's whey protein isolate is the gold standard. Most easily readily available protein source in the body. Very easy to body use and break down, right? Casein is a slower absorbing protein, also comes from whey, and then plant is actually pretty hard for your body to digest but it's faster than eating a steak, right? On that. So I think that's what's really important when you think about digestion and like, do you want protein available immediately? Best is to get it through a whey source. If you just need to increase your protein intake, just eat protein, meat, whatever it may be, nuts, etc.
Okay, so if I have a whey intolerance, what amino acids am I likely missing out on or going to have a little more difficulty? Yeah.
Right? That for you, right? You still eat meat.
I do.
Yeah. So you don't have as big of a challenge with that because you get that whole thing. You're getting it. But for me, it's really about, right, making sure, like if I assume you are intaking protein through liquid protein, a protein shake every once in a while.
Here and there. I eat a lot of protein bars.
Yeah, then you're most likely a blend.
What?
Right? Most likely a blend of protein, of plant protein in those.
Yeah.
Right, and so you should be fine. Right, in that the real big thing is like, if you're just only eating a pea protein, right, you're gonna not have your complete amino acid profile. Like, you're not missing out any by not having whey. It's just whey is the most readily available post-workout. Right, like it's just easily digested and bioavailable very quickly. Which is just different, right? And that doesn't necessarily need to be your goal post-workout, right? If you're eating a protein bar, right, that slowly digests over time too. It's not a substitute. So
it's not a what?
It's not like right, like not drinking a whey protein shake and having a bar. It's not a direct substitute. So it's not like you need to add anything. You're doing just fine, I would say.
Yeah.
I wouldn't stress about missing anything on from the amino acid profile in your diet. You eat, I'm guessing, a selection of meats.
I do.
Right? You're totally fine. Right? Like honestly, like I would not stress about losing any aminos.
Yeah. No, and I don't stress about it, but I do wonder for like, I guess if you were vegan, what amino acids are they typically missing out on that they need to supplement with?
That's a good question. I actually don't know the direct answer of that.
Okay.
But I do know, right, different plants carry different amino acids profiles.
Right.
For sure. Right?
So you have to be very particular.
Yeah.
And that's per meal, right?
Most likely. Yeah, I mean per plant source.
Yeah. Can you talk a little bit about, like I know if you eat an excess of carbs, your body can store it as fat. If you eat an excess of fat, you can store it as fat. But if you eat an excess of protein, you can't save protein or like your body kind of has to use it when you eat it, right?
Yeah, I mean, right, our body will turn all excess fuel into fat.
Right.
Right? But that's why to this comment of like, your body just needs to have the right intake of protein to build muscle throughout the day.
And spread out, yeah.
And spread out. It's not a all or nothing proposition on that because our body does not store protein
right.
To do. And that's why like collagen is a great example. Like collagen peptides are really compelling data. There's still a lot of work to come out, but really compelling data around connective tissue health. But it has to be present in your body when you're training to actually really have an effect on your connective tissue health, right? And it's not like, oh, I took my collagen 5 days ago, I'm good, because my body has it.
Right.
Like, you don't store proteins.
Right. Okay, so if I want to have about 100 grams of protein a day, and I have 100 grams of protein for breakfast, if I work out at dinner, I don't have that protein just sitting there to use anymore,
That's a good
right?
question. You're going to have trouble pooping first.
Yeah, I mean, that's a lot. I don't think I could eat 100 grams of protein at breakfast. Giving you an extreme hypothetical, but...
all jokes here. Yeah, that's a good question. Like, I actually don't know, like, how long your body would hold on to that to be effective. Like, our body digests food over periods of time, clearly. And so it probably depend upon, like, what type of protein, right? Is it, animal source, which can take a very long time to break down? Is it dairy, which can be absorbed very fast? Right? So, yeah. I don't know the answer.
Okay, that's fine.
That's two that I don't know.
But the main point is, eat it spread throughout the day. Because your body won't store it and hold on.
Yeah.
And if you don't have it available,
then you don't build.
Then it starts breaking down your existing muscle.
Exactly. When your muscles are trying to recover from hard training days or just life in general, right? Amino acids, protein, are the building blocks of our body.
Yeah.
Right? Our brain needs protein, our muscles need protein, our connective tissue, our joints, our skin needs protein, all of it. So.
Right. Okay, so if I don't have a meal with me, I just finished a really hard workout, I know I need to have protein to replenish. Collagen works as a protein, right?
Yeah, so collagen is a unique strand of amino acids. Collagen is a peptide. And collagen is a protein. It will work. But think about protein for your muscles, and think about collagen for, like if you look at your calf, you're going to train, your calf uses protein, your Achilles uses collagen.
Oh, okay.
Right?
That makes sense.
So, right, it's a different set of amino acids, but whole protein can make up collagen a bit, but collagen is a unique strand, a unique peptide, and it's the building block of connective tissue in our body. Joints, ligaments, tendons, hair, skin, nails. Right?
Gotcha.
That's what collagen peptides are. And then kind of whole form proteins like whey or steak, which has collagen in it too, are for your muscles, right? So when you think about the difference of that.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about that.
Yeah.
That little key
So there's some
point.
do you take collagen?
I do.
When do you take collagen?
When? In my pre-workout kind of drink routine, and throughout the workout.
Do you take collagen with caffeine?
It depends how soon I start my workout after my coffee. So it's not like mixed into the same drink, but I usually will be just finishing my coffee when I start my...
So collagen is super interesting because the data's pretty young on collagen. But it's compelling, but young. And there's a researcher out of UC Davis called Keith Barr. We're actually working with Keith Barr on a DoD contract. It's called a SIBR, boring language, graded acronyms in the military. And it's all around connective tissue health. And so he's one of the foremost researchers on collagen and connective tissue health in the country, in the world, really. But we won a DoD innovation contract around collagen shot. And really it's just an innovative form factor to take collagen. And part of the reason why this was impactful is the data's coming out that says you need to have collagen in your body 30 to 60 minutes before you train. And caffeine inhibits collagen synthesis.
Interesting.
And the collagen industry was made on mixing collagen with coffee.
Really?
Right? I mean, when you think about it, it's like really habitual, right? Collagen mixes very well in warm beverages. It's pretty much flavorless. But that was 10 years ago. But the new data coming out is really compelling that there's some evidence that you shouldn't be having it with caffeine because it inhibits it. But the whole 30 to 60 minutes pre-workout, so you need collagen in your bloodstream.
Yeah.
Right? While it's called loading, while you're loading your joints. And the reason being, when you think about your joints, ligaments, tendon, very, very little blood flow. And the time when they get the blood flow, aka get nutrients delivered to them, is when you're in a loaded phase or a loaded state. Training, even walking around, right? And so there's a bunch of misinformation or just not an understanding around collagen. Like, collagen is a multi-billion-dollar market, but almost nobody understands it. Really, to be optimal for connective tissue health, you need to take it preloading, and you should take it with caffeine. So anyways, this is just a unique form factor of how do you give your collagen in an easy way before you train. Because as we know, creating long-term impacts in your body, they don't happen a day, a week, a month. They are habitual. Bone-crushing consistency creates results, right? And it's supplementation is like diet, is like nutrition, is like exercise, bone-crushing consistency. So taking collagen for a month, great. Taking collagen consistently over years really can have, research suggests, will have really positive impacts on your connective tissue. Make it easy. This is making it easy. The other thing about collagen, has to be mixed. It has to have vitamin C in it.
Right, I've heard that.
Vitamin C.
Why does it have to have vitamin C?
It has to do with the synthesis and the digestion and the delivery. Just a really interesting thing, right? Like, that people don't think about. A lot of the collagen products in the market have vitamin C in it. Just they do, because it's really well known now. Anyway, so this was partially funded by the Department of Defense. Really cool. How do you take this before you train at a convenient time to maximize its impact? And then we actually took this, and what we're on with Keith Barr, we're on what's called the Phase 2 Small Business Innovation Research grant, where we're trying to develop a new connective tissue health product that uses collagen and something else combined to enhance the connective tissue health, and doing clinical research on it currently at UC Davis. And it's more, all around how do we reduce connective tissue injuries in the Department of Defense, right? That's combat readiness.
Yeah.
Right? Because the down days due to, muscular skeletal injuries cost billions of dollars a year in down days, right?
Well, it's the most common injuries.
Exactly.
We talk about humans as a weapons system, right?
Yeah.
The Army has a lot of stuff. The military has a lot of stuff. We see planes flying over. We see tanks, and we're like, oh yeah, that's what wins our nation's battles. But what wins our nation's battles are people.
Humans.
Humans who are able to operate for a long period of time. Historically, what we saw over the last 20 plus years with the global war on terror was a tremendous amount of our nation's service members just being affected by continuous strain. There's a term that's been put to it around operator syndrome. And the operator syndrome has a physical nature, a lot of it's a mental and emotional nature. But when your body is going through repeated strain, as an NFL player, you talk about being hit in the head. Well, being hit in the head on a football play and being standing under a 120 millimeter main gun on an Abrams tank when it fires are relatively the same percussion that's going to happen in your head.
Yeah.
And when that happens over and over again, blasting doors, whether it be in training or combat, that has an effect that compounds over time. The DoD and your work with the DoD is focused on really trying to get the humans back to the center, keep them operational, keep them ready, but on a proactive state. Everything we've done has been reactionary.
And that was what sports were 20 years ago, right? When you think about how elite sports have transitioned, it was you had a trainer and a med staff, right? An athletic trainer and a med staff. You ice and stem. You kind of like, tape up your ankle, it hurts, right?
But don't come see me till it hurts.
Yeah, exactly. But there was nothing about how do we think about preventative, prophylactic care. Training, how do we think about training load, doing the right types of training load, how do we think about the right nutrition, the right mental state, and giving people the right tools. Right now, professional organizations, and even the government, the Army with the H2F program is starting to see that, right? They're putting dietitians on base. They're putting strength coaches on base. They're doing these things, right? They're catching up, right? And it's so important to think when you think about longevity doesn't happen at the point of injury. Longevity happens at the point of entrance into the service, right? Longevity happens for an athlete at the start of your career. You don't just start longevity when you're hurt, right? If you do that, you're already late. You're already hurt and broken, right? And it's a way harder battle to do that then than it is previous. So it is a change in mindset. And our medical system as a whole is changing mindsets. Like, the people here are not thinking about, right, medicine only when you're sick or you're hurt. They're thinking about medicine about how they live, right? Medicine is my health. And they're thinking about, how do I train? How do I perform? How do I sleep? And that is preventative medicine in a very core thing. And so our society and communities are changing. Not the society as a whole, but we're starting to change that for sure. And it's impactful.
Yeah, and you've been working very closely in DC, advocating on the Hill for a lot of these legislative changes. Talk about some of the work that you're doing there.
Yeah, I've been really honored to meet a lot of people like yourself and a lot of really high up commanders, generals, etc. And basically what I learned, we just had all this institutional inertia. And it wasn't like, obviously we've won 10 government contracts, and these have all been supported by units and experts in the space, but we haven't won because we haven't been able to really democratize high performance or deliver massive solutions to the government, because there's this thing called bureaucracy, right?
No,
and things move slow, and that's okay. But somebody told me, it's like, you have the support here. DC, the Hill, is ultimately that gives orders, right? You need to change how people think about these things to open up the aperture. And they're like, you have this incredible access. Use that access to the experts, to the Hubermans of the world, to the pro and college teams to go advocate. And so he was like, you got to play the game if you want change to happen. There's a game. It's been played for hundreds of years. Play the game. Right? And you can make a big difference. Because if you truly want to democratize high performance, you don't do it talking to like-minded people. You do it convincing other people. You go educate and inform and inspire and equip. And so what we've done in DC is we're doing 4 roundtables with an independent think tank around the Department of Defense, right? And the challenges. Our first one was on connective tissue, musculoskeletal injuries. The second one was on traumatic brain injury. The third will be on women's health. And the fourth is going to be on general combat readiness, combat performance. And in that, we also have been asked to come brief Congress on these topics. So 2 months ago, I had the honor for doing a congressional briefing, a Hill briefing on traumatic brain injury. And what we did was we brought in the experts from pro and college sports and in science to talk about what's happening in pro and college sports. Also, what's happening in the very elite tip of the pointy spear DoD Special Forces around brain health. What are they doing from a supplementation perspective? What are they learning? What are they seeing? And how are they objectively saying this is working or not? And so it was really powerful to have operators share their stories, have pro athletes that are pro bowlers share their stories about traumatic brain injury, and then have the leading scientists and practitioners come and say, this is what we're doing and this is where it's going. And then have people that have been in the soft community say, these are our challenges. We know omegas and creatine are really effective, but we have a challenge buying them. We cannot buy them. They don't go, MedShed can't get them, right? They're not a food item, so where do they fall? Right? The human as a weapon system doesn't have.
There's no purchasing code.
They don't have a color of money, right? A doctor can buy omegas, but you got to prescribe them, right? Food service can buy milk, but that's not the same thing as this category that we live in. And so it's really, how do you inspire, say, we need to change how we think about this category. And part of the challenge is, there's so much BS. There's so much snake oil, and there's so many charlatans in this space. We have what I call it. We got bro science of bro science, and we have so far pharmaceutical type things. Really, really high quality products, but they're almost sterile, right? And to inspire and equip consumers and people, you can't be sterile, and you can't be bro science. But you gotta have passion, and you gotta have a why. and you got to make the best damn products in the world, right? You need all of that. And to me, like, there's just like massive highway to drive down that we have, that we can be a brand, have passion, stand up for what we believe in, go promote and advocate, and we can make the best products in the world and back them up, right? Like, why can't we do that? That's being the anti-supplement company, in my opinion. That's my vision. We're not there yet. We got a long ways. We got I've kissed toads, right? Like, we have some warts, but we're continuing to try to get better, and hard conversations, and people like Allison Brager, right? Just right here. She makes us better because she challenges us. She's like, why'd you do this? This doesn't make sense. Or she says, have you seen this new research coming out? You should look at this. Like, it's incredibly impactful to have those people thinking about us and how, because we're a vector to help, right? Like, we aren't going to be in a lab doing research, but we want to fund that. We want to support that. And then we want to help bring that to market so that we can democratize high performance. So anyways, I hope that we've gone down a rabbit hole of supplements.
That's okay. Jesse's been very excited about this one, so I wanted her to run with it because it's important, right? It's super important because, as you said, how do you educate? You talk about being in Capitol Hill. You talk about talking to congressmen, senior leaders. The only way that they're going to get to a point to understand it and make concrete change and take action, have a bias to action, which is what we sit here in front of the U.S. Army and we partner with the U.S. Army, because at the end of the day, what does the Army do? We take action. We develop leaders who are action-oriented in the absence of all of the solutions and all of the information. Can we take the most information that we know, make a plan, and then execute it with precision, but be able to adjust? So you have to educate people to be able to think. What we've done over years and systemically, especially in this space around performance and human as a weapon system, is we've defaulted to that reactive nature that you talked about. And with that reactive nature comes closed-mindedness and a lack of further educating yourself.
Yeah.
Because why would I have to educate myself as the commander of a special forces unit when all I do when somebody comes in and says I don't feel well is I say, well, two choices. You got a head problem? Go talk to the shrink. You got a physical problem? Go talk to the doc. Come back to me when you feel good. And that's not the answer.
Not the answer.
Because if we have commanders who are thought leaders in this space as well as their job, then we can truly empower and inspire those under us to be the best that they can be.
100%.
And that's what we're there to do. That's what we're trying to do. I want to ask you a question about being a business owner, because you had to make the transition from an elite athlete. Now you got to run a business. What are some of the lessons you take from your experience playing in the NFL? And I won't hold it against you that you played at Denver as a Patriots fan, but that's fine.
I mean, I played in Denver for like a hot second. I also got fired from Denver. I got cut. So,
good. We don't like them.
Elite sports is very humbling. It just is, right? Like, you get, it's a very similar culture to the DOD, right? The bar is, it's very similar culture to the special forces, right? It's a brother and sisterhood, right? The bar is incredibly high. You speak a very, very similar language, and it's perform, right? Like,
results matter.
Results
At the end of the
matter.
day, results matter.
But for me, the most important thing from transitioning out from being a CEO from being a really elite pro athlete, or I would say not maybe an elite pro athlete, not really, really elite, just a pro athlete, to a CEO business owner. The number one thing is resiliency, right? Man, you get punched in the face, you get knocked down, people root against you, shit is hard, right? And you just gotta keep going, right? Like, you're not dead till you're dead, right? Fight, fight, fight. Every day is a battle. There's something new. Somebody's gonna throw a wrench in you. So, like, there's always somebody throwing garbage, right? Like, trying to blow you up, right? Like, and you just got to keep fighting. You got to say, there's something else. Keep going, right? And you got to stay very true, to my opinion, to your why. Your why is so important. And if you don't have a strong why, you got no resiliency in life. You don't. Because guess what? It gets hard. And if you don't have a strong why, you're done. Because guess what? It's easy to say, tomorrow. Or I'll do something else. But the why and the resiliency is so important, right? And I kind of relate that back to, I don't know, I got these 2 things that I picked up from my dad, and my 2 words that I keep with me are attitude and effort. There's a lot of things that you can control in your life, and there's a lot of things that you can't control in your life, and there's a lot of things that have a dramatic impact in your life. The things that have a really big impact that you can control, there's a very small Venn diagram out there. There's a lot of things that you can control that aren't important. There's a lot of things that you can't control that are really important, but things that you can control your effort, how you show up every day. And you can control your attitude, how you address problems, are you resilient? What are you going to do when it knocks you down? What are you going to do when it's good, right? How are you going to learn from both? That's all about your attitude, right? You choose how you get to respond every day, and you choose if you want to work your ass off or not. Nobody else makes those choices. Nobody else controls those things, and to me, that's what's most important. That equals resiliency. That equals winning, and that's what I take from sports.
I'll give you one more. It's supposed to be hard. It's
Yeah.
not supposed to be easy, and we live in a culture now, and we've created a society where everyone's looking for the easy fix, the hack. You know, how do I find this app? How do I find this thing that's going to make everything that I'm doing easy? And that's not reality. The reality is you want to become a great player in the NFL, well, you're going to work your ass off through high school and college, and then you're going to walk in the door, and when you get there on day 1, you're going to be number 0. You're going to be the worst guy on the
Negatives,
team.
negative
Okay?
100.
You're going to carry the pad. Same in SF. You know, we have guys, they come in, you do your time, you go to selection, you make it, you go to the Q course, you make it, you walk into your team room, you don't know shit. You're the low guy. Now you got to earn your spot every single day. And if it was easy, anybody would do it. And we don't want people who come up the easy way. I put something up on social media last week because someone was talking to me about easy, and I said, tell me the name of this most successful person you know, and when they told you they got there because it was easy. It doesn't exist.
Does not.
And we have to embrace that.
If it was easy, everybody would do it. Everybody would do it if it was easy. It ain't easy. I don't know. I really resonate with that. Like, life is hard, right? To be great is hard. To be good, to do good is hard. It's not easy. Like, the easy way, the greatness does not come with ease. And I think that's also, like, our society's whole thing around, hey, what's the easy button, is part of the problem with my industry. Everybody's looking for something quick. Everybody's used to, like, because we're sold on, hey, do this and X is going to happen. You're going to look great. You're going to lose weight. You're going to be buff. It's like, you don't get fit. You don't look great. You don't have great longevity. There's some, like, genetics in all of that. But really, if you don't do the right things, it doesn't matter. Over bone-crushing consistency wins, right? And that's what our space is littered with, is quick fixes, do this, you're going to be great. No, that's not how life works. That's not how anything great works, right? And that's why, to me, it's so important to get people into the right things at the right time, because consistency matters. Not doing 7 things right, doing 2 things right. Do that, master it. Then we can talk about something else, and then something else. And likelihood is it might be behavior, not even supplement. It might be diet. It might be exercise that will have the next biggest impact. And that's what you see in SOF, is like, master that skill, right? You're not going to go do something until you master it and be really proficient and good. Then it just becomes second nature. Then you go do something else, right?
Well, we're here at the CrossFit Games, so I'll talk about CrossFit. You know, one of CrossFit's greats, Josh Bridges, came on the show. Now it's over a year ago, and he talked about, you don't do something until you get it right. You do it until you can't get it wrong. And that means that when you go out there and you do get it right, you got to stop and say, well, now I got to do it 1,000 more times.
That's
just
powerful.
like that. And
That's
that's the
powerful.
difference between great and good.
Yeah.
What do you expect out of the rest of the weekend? What are you looking for? What are you looking forward to over the rest of the weekend?
I really love talking to consumers, right? Like, to me, as a CEO and founder, like, real easy not to show up, right, to something like this.
I got a team for the
Long days, hard days, right? Like, this is not a, 7 to 5 in an AC building, right? This is a, 7 to 7 and then you have to go work and write emails afterwards in the AC. And it's hot, it's humid, it's stressful. But for me, how can I ask my people, right, who don't have the same economic incentives I do, not even close to come bust their ass for 7 days, right? Start to finish, sweaty, hot, have passion, have energy, if I ain't willing to do it myself. Lead from the front. People follow when you lead from the front. Lead with passion, right? Like, if they ain't willing to do it, they shouldn't. So, also, like, if you don't get energy from being here, like, I get inspired by seeing greatness, right? And talking to people and people being curious and asking the questions you ask, right? And it's fascinating to me to do that. And that's why we do what we do. Like, democratizing high performance, you don't do that with a paid Facebook ad. You don't.
No.
You don't do that, right? You do that by having meaningful conversations with these people walking around, educating, informing, inspiring, equipping, right? That's what we do. And that's the passion that we want to bring in, but also sitting in an office is boring.
Yeah, here you get to play on the rowing machine.
100%. I love what I do. I love my team. I love my company. I secretly love building models, right? Like financial models. And I love, right, solving really hard challenges in board prep and board decks. But I also love this, right? And what I found is the business that we're in has been able to smash it all together. Because I could go do a tech company. I could go that's boring. It's not my passion. Like, being around people that are like-minded, community-focused, that are trying to be better every day, that's my people. Whether you're a CrossFit athlete, whether you're an endurance athlete, whether you're, an academic, just try, or another executive, just trying to be better every day, I love having those conversations. I'm looking forward to sweating this week more.
Oh, yeah.
Well, it's about to happen because we got the 5K here in about 30 minutes. So
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I heard 1,000 people.
1,000 people?
1,000 people.
Do they all start at the same time?
I have no idea how it's going to work, but
it's
Sounds
actually
like a stampede.
we've got to go get you your GORUCK shoes and
We
get
do.
over
Yeah.
Speaking of GORUCK,
Hey.
I'll make a nice plug.
Oh,
These are the
nice.
best trainers I've ever worn. I've worn a lot of trainers.
Oh.
The ballistic trainers are great.
They are so good.
They are so
Why?
I love them.
Why are they good?
They are great for my foot.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they just fit my foot. They're super solid, right? And I'm like, they actually look kind of stylish. Like, I'm not a bright green, purple, like, these are classy. Like, I would wear these with pants. I would wear these, maybe even some would say with slacks. I'm not the most fashionable human being in the life, but I like muted, dull, these are beautiful.
Normal
I-
colors.
Yeah.
Normal colors.
Normal colors. And, they cost $99 or something.
Yeah.
And they have a lifetime warranty. Like, what? No shoe should, like, $99 at a lifetime warranty? Like, that should cost $500. Your shoe should cost $500 if you're going to lifetime warranty it, right?
Ooh.
No other shoe company has any warranty.
Huh.
It's true.
What?
No,
Like-
it's true.
Because they're crap and they'll
So-
break down. And GORUCK, anyways, I love GORUCK. Like, they are great people. They've been super good to me.
Us too.
Like, fun,
Great partners of the Jedburgh podcast. So Jason McCarthy's been a friend for a long time and been awesome. I do a lot of the sandbags. You got some sandbags?
Gotta love them.
They got like 1,000 pounds of sandbags.
So many sandbags. Sandbags, I didn't get exposed to them till GORUCK, really. And they really changed how I think about training and working out. Like, it's just so mobile and so fun, but also great community building. Like, we had this really cool workout crew in Park City where I live, and it's just like, once a week we do sandbag workouts now on the field. And it's just like, so different. Like, it's just community-based. It's easy. You can scale. I don't know. The sandbag burpee up and over is like
no joke.
My favorite exercise. Become my favorite exercise. Anyways, I'm a weird human, but like, my boys play sports, lacrosse. I literally take my 60-pound sandbag to the cross practice, and I just do sandbag burpees watching my boys
Nice.
at practice. And my wife is just like, oh my gosh. But here's the thing. in Park City, there's another really strange guy, Hobie Darling, who I think you met at the GORUCK Games. He's been doing it for like 4 years. Like, he just wears his ruck. He runs around the field. He's got 2 daughters. And so everybody, like, when I started doing this, they're like, oh, you must know Hobie. It's like, yeah. He made it normal in Park City to do weird things like that at kids' sporting events.
See, you say that, and 2 weeks ago I did the exact same thing at my daughter's lacrosse practice. She was out on the field. I pulled the sandbag out of the back, went on the adjacent field, and was the only guy on the field doing kettlebell swings with the sandbag.
So amazing.
Yeah, let's normalize that.
100%. Let's normalize that. That's the goal.
All right, we got a 5K to prep for here in a little bit. It's been an awesome time learning so much. I mean, I learned an incredible amount about all of this that, like, I told Jessie before, I was like, I don't know that much about the science behind this. She's like, I got it. Like, okay, awesome. I'm like, awesome.
Yeah.
So it's an important part of what we do. You know, and that's what we have to think about. You have to think about, this is a component. And when we add in our mental, emotional, physical health, and we look at the total person and all of these components, that triangle that are going to make us great at what we do, be all that we can be, this is a part that we have to think about. So thanks for sharing that with us.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing your lessons as you build this company. We look forward to watching it grow and be a part of your journey.
Thank you. I would just say, right, assuming a lot of the people who listen to your show are veterans or still active duty, right, go spend $40 on omega-3s and creatine a month.
Yeah.
It's for your brain. You only got one. We're going to fix everything else. Everything else is fixed with hammers, nails, and screws. We don't know how to fix this yet, but we know some things that help. Don't care who you buy it from, right? Get a high-quality omega, get a creatine. Creatine is creatine, right? Just do it, because it's not, you get one brain, and if, right, you've shot 50 calibers, if you've played a professional sport and hit your head, or if you've done combat sports, why? Like, don't risk it. $40 is not that much. Make a sacrifice in some other area of your life. Buy it from anybody. There's a lot of great brands out there. Like, it's what I'm most passionate about, and people closest to me are going to have the biggest impact on their life.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Also talked to Julius Thomas and Tommy Shavers about brain training.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm with you on the omega-3s. For sure.
Rock on. I appreciate you very much for having me.
Absolutely.
And what you've done.
Anytime.
You know, this is amazing. So thanks for having me.
Thanks, Jeff.
Yeah, thank you.
Sorry. Shameless plug.
That was great.
American Jedburghs went out to form the foundation of the United States Special Forces and the Special Activities Directorate of the Central Intelligence Agency. Thanks for listening to the Jedburgh Podcast. I'm your creator and host, Fran Racioppi. Join us next week for a new episode on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Check us out on YouTube for full episodes, highlights, and other behind-the-scenes content. If you like what you heard, give us a like and leave a review. Follow me, Fran Racioppi, Jessie Graff, Talent War Group, and our CrossFit Games sponsors, U.S. Army, Wodify, GORUCK, and Hero Coffee on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, Threads, or X. Send your comments and inquiries to fran@jedburghpodcast.com. As a former member of Special Forces, the Jedburgh Podcast donates a percentage of all proceeds to the Green Beret Foundation, supporting America's Special Forces and their families. Thanks for joining us on this episode. How you prepare today determines success tomorrow.